The British Defense Secretary suggests that Ukraine needs to put more emphasis on saying thank you for Western help when he was asked about President Volodymyr Zelensky's complaints that the country has not been issued a firm timetable or set of conditions for joining NATO. Now, it's important to note that it was Mr. Wallace, the Defense Secretary of Britain, that was hoping to be at the helm of NATO, taking Stoltenberg's place. However, when Rishi Sunak met with President Biden, he wasn't able to convince the U.S. president in this regard. So with this backdrop, we are now joined by our correspondent, Alex Izat from London. Alex, how do you see Wallace's statement? Is there some unease over Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's stance?
Yeah, it does quite feel that there has been a lot of talk from Zelensky recently about how it was absurd that Ukraine couldn't join NATO and that he was frustrated about how slow things were moving. So when Ben Wallace made those complaints, he was suggesting that actually, the UK has given about $83 billion worth of equipment over to Ukraine. So Zelensky should be a little bit more grateful for what he has already received. Obviously, we just heard there in the press conference that Volodymyr Zelensky was very thankful. He thanked a lot of people, including Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, for his help. But it does feel that he is getting to a bit more irritable as this war continues on. He has said previously that he thinks by joining NATO that the war with Russia will end. However, there are many that say, well, it would push Putin to do something even more drastic. And a lot of the G7 countries are not willing to take that chance and potentially start another world war. So, of course, Zelensky is going to be extremely frustrated. But it does seem from what Ben Wallace was suggesting, and others also, that maybe he needs to take a little bit of a step back and be grateful for what he has received so far. This current advice that he's been given from the G7 and through NATO is that they will ensure that he is secure and the country is still having the support from those G7 countries, but that it will have to wait before he joins NATO. And that is something that we did all expect. And whether or not Zelensky did try to throw his toys out of the pram a little bit earlier this week by suggesting it was absurd that Ukraine couldn't join, I think Ben Wallace it was right to say something in the sense that, well, actually, the UK has been behind Ukraine since the beginning, and we are still behind the people, and it's not right for the leader to potentially throw that out alongside his complaints about the management of NATO.
Yeah, it seems that Mr. Wallace said the quiet part out loud, what many have been thinking. But on the other hand, people say that Volodymyr Zelensky is in war. It's his country. He can ask for whatever he wants. It's up to the opposing side, the other side, to see what they can provide and what they can't. Alex, thank you so much for joining us from London. Alex Izat, our correspondent, joining us live.